Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom, and we are on Facebook Live. What's up, everybody? Hope all is well. You guys are rocking the house. Okay, so we have a cool little new setup we've been playing with. It's a camera called Mevo. Is it Mevo? Is that what it is? Mevo? And that's what we're using right now. The cool thing is you can do a live cast and you can manage it from your iPhone at the same time, which I thought is pretty cool. So if you guys are on right now, I want to thank you. We got some cool stuff we want to cover about scaling your business. So this web class is primarily, or this live thing we're going to do, is primarily for people looking to scale their wholesaling business. They want to take their wholesaling business to the next level. So that's what we're going to talk about. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to get into. I'm going to actually bring you up here to our spreadsheet up here. We're going to talk about some KPIs. We're going to talk about basically the 9 steps of what it takes to $100,000 a month system. We're going to talk about the KPIs. So we got some cool stuff. So here's the deal. If you're on, first off, I want to thank you so much for being on. If you could share this broadcast with your friends, I'd greatly appreciate it. So just go on there, press the share button. Let me know where you're from. So Aaron's going to call out. He's here. I've got Chris right here managing the Mevo with his iPhone and stuff. So Chris is going to, Aaron's actually going to call out. Anybody here, just put in like where you're from, what market you're in, where you're doing deals. It would be great to be able to know that. So if you could share this, I'd greatly appreciate it. Share the broadcast and let me know where you're from. Here in Phoenix, Arizona, it is absolutely, if you can see, it's beautiful out right now. And it's about 60 degrees, sunny, beautiful day. I'm actually headed to Orlando tomorrow. So we actually, we have our mastermind boardroom and boardroom elite are meeting tomorrow in Orlando. It's going to be a blast. Excited to see everybody. If you guys are watching, I'll see you guys tomorrow, which is going to be great. All right, so if you guys are joining us, this is a live webcast for real estate wholesalers that are doing 1 to 2 deals a month that want to scale their business to consistently $100,000 a month in revenue. What it takes, there's 9 steps that it takes. There's some key KPIs, key performance indicators that you must know to scale it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you just leave a comment below, let us know where you are from, what markets you're in. And I'd love to talk about all different markets across the country, whether you're in a large market, a small market in California. We've got guys doing deals from California, all over the place. So are we ready to get started? How are we doing, Aaron, over there? Good. Doing good? So live's good. All right, so first off, I am going to give you I'm going to basically do a couple different things on this training. Number one is I'm going to give you a keyword that you can type into the comments. And what will happen is I'm going to basically allow you to, or basically what you're going to be able to do is register for a webinar, but also download this spreadsheet for free. And I'm going to obviously show you how to use it. So pay attention. I'm actually going to give you a keyword that you can type in the comments below. You type in that keyword, and what's going to happen is you're going to be able to register for the webinar and then be able to download this spreadsheet. So let's get into the training. Let's start talking about, first off, we're going to talk about KPIs and talk about the concept of scaling to $100,000 a month. So here's the situation. I've been doing this solopreneur. I've been doing this now for 15 years. I've been actually wholesaling. And I was stuck in a rut for probably from 2003 to about 2013, 12 or 13, at the point where I was doing everything myself. And I was stuck doing 2 to 3 deals a month, maybe 1 to 2 deals a month, inconsistently. Income was like this, right? And the reason why is because of, because I was doing everything myself. So what happened is I would go out and I would focus on marketing, right? When I didn't have any deals, I'd focus on marketing. There'd be a couple different things. And this is even before I knew marketing, right? I would go out and knock on pre-foreclosure doors. That's how I learned. That's when I first got started. I was taught to go knock on pre-foreclosure doors. Now, if anyone's ever done that before, it's not an exciting thing to do, I can tell you that. But what happened is when I was out of deals, that's what I would do. I'd go knock on doors. Then I found marketing. I actually had an idea to place an ad in a jobs paper. It's called Job Examiner here. It's local here in Phoenix. And I was thinking, where would be a great place that people might be looking for a job? Well, people looking to sell a house. Maybe they've lost a job, so they're going to look for a job in a job newspaper, and maybe they have a house to sell. Well, lo and behold, I put that ad in there. A guy called me up. He inherited a property. It was trashed. It was boarded up. It was vacant. There was people in the house doing meth. And he was like, I just want to get rid of it. Had spray paint all over the thing. It was the ugliest house on the entire street, which is the absolute thing you want. And typically when you're doing wholesale deals. So what happened was I got that property under contract for $36,000. I sold it for like $70-something thousand, $72,000, made a huge check. And that's when I realized, wow, I put out marketing and then someone called me. So what happens is instead of me going out and knocking on doors, I was like, I can have people call me. Then I started diving in and studying marketing on how marketing could work to bring in sellers, right? Now, obviously we have various different marketing, different methods that we use now, from ringless voicemail to cold calling to everything in between, from direct mail to Google AdWords to Bing to Facebook, all the way around to drive leads. So here's the deal, is that I was focused, and this is me as a one-man show, is the deal. I was focused on strictly just marketing. I'd focused on marketing, right? And that's all I do is focus on marketing. And then what happened was, is now I get leads coming in deals, then I go meet with sellers and I go make offers. And then after I make offers, then I go on a bunch of different appointments. I travel all across town. I'd be driving in the car, picking up the phone, answering the phone, turn around. Then I go to appointments, then I make offers, then I get a contract. And then holy cow, once you get a contract, then you have to shift your focus to where now you're going to sell the property. So now I'm putting bandit signs out for the property to try to sell the property, right? I'm trying to find buyers. I'm looking everywhere to find buyers, to try to market the property. And what happens is this cycle goes where you start from marketing, and then you turn around and you get calls coming in. Now you're a lead manager, you get calls coming in. Then you turn around and you get, then you're going on appointments. Now you're an acquisition person, and then you have to make offers. Then you get contracts, you turn into a transactional person, and then you're a disposition person where you're selling properties, and then you go back to the beginning, and it happens over and over. The problem is that when you're in the marketing mode, you get leads and deals coming in, your income cycles just like this, and your income goes up and down. So what we're going to talk about is how to break that cycle. How to break that cycle and get out of it, because what happens is you find yourself, like I did, working 7 days a week. I was working 7 days a week. I was working early in the morning till late at night. At night, I was putting all my marketing together. In the morning, I was taking calls and meeting with sellers and everything in between. So the bottom line is that I was just, I was working all the time. I'd never be able to see my kids, and I basically traded a job where I could get paid and I can go home and relax, to where now I was working all the time, and because I was now working for myself and I didn't have a guaranteed paycheck coming in, right? So it changed everything. Now, I loved it because I had the freedom and I could come and go as I please and this, that, and the other, but working 7 days a week sucked. So I was like, how do you make the jump? How do you break the mold and get out of it? So what happened is a couple things different changed, and that's what I want to talk about today. So if you're joining us right now and you're on here, if you could do me a couple different things, share this broadcast with your friends. Let me know in the comments below where you're from, if you could, where you're from, and then I'm going to give you a special keyword, that you're going to be able to type into the comments, and when you type those in the comments, it's going to take you to a page where you can, basically you're going to get a message in your messenger you're going to reply back to that message, and you're able to get a link where you can register for the webinar and download this spreadsheet we're going to talk about right now. So again, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. So now, if you're sick of doing this up and down and doing all this stuff, if you're sick of basically being a one-man show, working for yourself, and you're stuck doing these 1 to 2 deals and you want to break through the next level, well, there's a first thing, right? There's essentially 9 steps to scale to $100,000 a month. The cool thing is that you can you follow from the first step and you start gradually adding. It's not an overnight thing. If you are in a position right now where you're doing 1 to 2 to 3 deals a month maybe, and you're making 5, 10, 15, 20,000, the income's inconsistent, it's going up and down, and you're wondering, what is it going to take? This is about an 18-month process, okay? 18 months to go from start to build this. 18 months from now, you could be in a position where you could have these things set up, and you could be in a position in your business where you're generating over $100,000 a month in revenue consistently, having a team of people working for yourself, busting out, and that's basically where you are, of applying these 9 steps in your business, number 1. Now, it all starts with what's called KPIs. KPIs. These are called key performance indicators. These are the 3 numbers that you must know in your business. KPIs, key performance indicators, right? And I've got Aaron working the computer here, and we're going to kind of play with these KPIs and these numbers on this spreadsheet. And I'm also, I'm going to give you, actually, I have you type in a keyword in the comments below, and I'm actually going to show you how you can get this, this for free. But here's the deal. KPIs, 3 KPIs. First KPI we need to know, and here's the thing. You might know these, and if you do know them, you don't know how to apply them to your business, right? So, KPIs, average profit per deal. Average profit per deal. That's the first KPI. So think about, how do you figure out average profit per deal? Take all the deals that you've done, right? Maybe you've done one, maybe in the past 12 months, you've done 6 deals, right? And you've done one for 8,000, one for 3,000, one for 12,000, one for 2,000. Add all those up, right? And divide it by the amount of deals. So if you've done 8 deals, divide it by 8. If you've done 12 deals, divide by 12. If you've done 10 deals, divide by 10. So what that will do is give you your average profit per deal. Now, that's incredibly important, because what you got to know is, what's your average deal? Because in this business, and this is a huge tip, in this business, you're going to have basically base hits all day long. Base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit. And then 1 out of 25, it's actually 1 out of about 50, is going to be a home run. It's going to be out of the park. You're going to get a hold of that ball, and it's going to take off, and it's going to go out of the park. 1 in about 50 leads or deals that you get, depending, and it depends on your market, is going to be a monster deal. It's going to be a $70,000 deal, an $80,000 deal, a $200,000 deal. I have guys that sent me check for $225,000 checks on one deal, because that's the home run deal. But what happens is, we can't look at that, and we can't create a predictive model on scaling your business, because we want to scale it to a consistent $100,000 a month, but we have to know the key performance indicators first before we can actually do that, so we know specifically how many leads we need to get on a weekly basis to basically hit our target number. Okay, so here's the deal. Average profit per deal. You take all of them. If you have a $70,000 deal and you got a 3 and a 2 or whatever, you take the average of all those deals, because that's part of the business. That's why, here's the thing, is that maybe you're sitting on the sideline. Maybe you're not doing any deals at all right now. Maybe you're doing nothing. And you're sitting on the sideline. At least, it's like this. I was in Hawaii a handful of years ago, right? And we went deep sea fishing. So we're on the back of the boat, and there was, at the time when we were trolling out there, out to our spot to go fishing, at that time we didn't have any lines in the ocean. There was no lines in the ocean to potentially catch fish. If you're brand new and you're maybe sitting on the sideline or whatever, kind of looking at this real estate market, right? Here's the deal. If you have no lines in the ocean, no marketing that you put out, there is no way you're going to catch that whale. You're not going to you're going to catch the little minnows and stuff, $10, $15, $3,000, $2,000 deals, but if you don't have any lines in the ocean, you're not going to catch that $100,000 deal. You're not going to catch that $80,000. You're not going to catch them. It's just not going to happen because you don't have any lines in the ocean. As soon as you put lines in the ocean, at least you have. So what's a line in the ocean? A line in the ocean might be sending a postcard. A line in the ocean might be dropping RVM messages, ringless voicemail messages. A line in the ocean might be sending out letters. It might be putting an ad on Craigslist. Those are all lines in the ocean that could come back and deals can come in. Sellers are going to call you to potentially sell their house. But if you don't have any lines in the ocean, you're not even playing in the game, right? So here's the deal, is that, like I said, if you're sitting on the sideline, put lines in the ocean. Now, when we talk about scaling, which we're going to talk about here on the steps of scaling your business, how to make that jump from 2 to 3 deals a month to 10 to 15 deals a month, right? It comes with basically increasing your marketing. And this is basically number 6, the marketing rollout. When you start adding on marketing channels strategically and scaling your current marketing channels that produce the highest ROI. So now, before I get off subject here, so we've got average profit per deal. That's the first KPI. Take all your deals. Let's say you got 10 of them, and you have them all over the place. Add them all together. Divide them by 10, and that's your average profit per deal. Average profit per deal, huge. Number 2, leads per contract. What does that mean? Leads. How many leads does it take for you to get a contract? Okay, how many leads to contract? Now it's interesting, and I'm going to basically talk about these here in a second, but leads per contract is all about your conversion. So think about this, right? If you have an experienced guy and you have a brand new guy, and if the experienced guy gets 50 leads, do you think the experienced guy will get more contracts, less leads per contract? That means they're going to get more contracts than the guy that's brand new. Of course, right? So the bottom line is that the better you get at talking to sellers, at understanding their personality type, at reading their handshakes, at making logical offers, at understanding the repair sheet in the property, basically what's going on in the property and how you can equate that to a repair sheet, understanding comparable sales, understanding values of what the values are, understanding your market. We just had a meeting this past Monday when we did our meeting, and we talked about where we are in the marketplace. Well, guess what? We have 17,000 units on the market. Well, guess what? Back in 2005, when the market was going bananas, there was 5,000 units, right? A stable market in Phoenix is 30,000 units. In 2008, when the market crashed, there was 50,000 units. So demand is all about inventory, right? So we looked at it on our Monday morning meeting. I threw the numbers up on the board. We had 17,000 units. So what happens is in the marketplace, we have to make higher offers to sellers because we know that there's going to be more of a demand on the sell side because there's limited amount of inventory, okay? All those things are taken into effect when you're meeting with a seller. Think about this. You might be talking to sellers and going to get deals, right? But you're coming back and going, everybody wants retail. Everybody wants retail. But if you don't know your market inventory of where you are in the cycle, an experienced wholesaler, I text a couple of my wholesalers in the market here. I said, what price are you selling your properties at? And guess what they said? 83 to 85% of value. 83 to 85%. Now, if you go back to 2008, 2007, guess where people are selling properties at? Right? 7, 8, 9, 10 when the crash. We were selling properties at 62 to 63 cents on the dollar. And now because the inventory's decreased, there's more demand for properties, that pushes now to 80 to 85%. We can sell our properties for. So here's the deal, and what does this mean to you? It means to you that if you're going to go in and you're going to talk to a seller and you're going to go, well, I'm going to do repairs, I'm going to do ARV, times 70%, less repairs, less my profit. So you have a $100,000 deal theoretically at 70%, $70,000 minus 10,000 repairs minus $10,000 of profit, and you're at a $50,000 offer. You're going to get blown out of the water. You're not going to get deals in this current market because other experienced wholesalers are going to be able to offer 80% and sell at 83% and make a spread. Other experienced wholesalers are going to understand the process of how to negotiate, make logical offers, and they're going to sell higher. So what's that going to affect? Leads per contract. So leads per contract is how many leads can you convert into a contract? And this is all about education, understanding the market, and the better you get, the better you get. The better you get, the more, the less leads it's going to take for you to convert a contract. So in this example up here, I got 30 leads per contract. 30, right? The average is about 25. So if you're brand new, you've got to go on 25 appointments, make 25 offers, and out of that, on average, you'll get one deal. So your leads per contract would be 25, right? So it takes you 25 appointments, 25 meetings with sellers, 25 offers before, right, you get a contract. 25. Now, an experienced person might be less. Our number is about 13. So for every 13 appointments, we'll get a contract. For every 13 leads, good leads we have, we'll get contracts. Now, people go, leads. What's the difference between a lead and people call them, what is a lead? A lead is, it's a potential opportunity, meaning if someone calls off your marketing, theoretically, if you send out 10,000 postcards and you get 50 calls, and 20 of them say, get off my list, stop, I'm not interested, I'm not selling, stop mailing me, basically screw off, right? 20 of them say that. Those aren't leads. We got the 30 left over that are potential leads that say, hey, I do have a house I want to sell. I'm thinking about selling here in the near future, and you are working to set an appointment. Now, with those, you should set about 80% of those should be appointments that you go on or offers that you make over the phone, depending if they're in or out of state, right? Or if you're doing it virtually. So the bottom line is, what's your conversion number? Okay, what's your conversion? It's important. Now, so that's leads per contract. Let's say 25. Let's say your average profit per deal, make it easy. We got $10,000, right? Average profit per deal. Someone goes, well, I'm going to build in a $10,000 profit. Now, this right here, I'll talk about here in a second, maybe if we got some time to do that, about increasing and decreasing these numbers and how to get better. We can talk about, and that's another whole conversation about how to decrease this number, how to increase this number, right? How do you get a higher average profit per deal? Well, when you're negotiating with a seller, right? Expect more. That could be one thing, right? You expect more. How do you get lower leads per contract? How do you do that? Well, guess what? You get better at reading personalities and closing. Now, cost per lead. This is the biggest factor, one of the biggest factors right here, cost per lead, that will affect your entire business. As competition increases, as markets tighten, as inventory decreases, this cost per lead increases. As your cost per lead increases, right, I'll show you here in a second what it does to your profitability. It becomes now a serious business of I've got to find leads as cheap as humanly possible. So the question becomes, how can I get the cheapest, most quality leads possible that are inbound, that are coming into my business? Now, obviously, we launched the RVM lead machine, and RVM lead machine, in my opinion, is one of the lowest cost leads, but it's just like any other lead source. It's just like direct mail. It's just like pay-per-click, right? There are people that are going to want retail. That's just the way it is. You sort through those people and you get deals off them, right? You're sorting through those potential sellers to find those gold nuggets, right? So here's the deal. On cost per lead is important. So Aaron, you ready? All right, so we're going to go back here. So this right here is what we call the annual revenue. So right now, currently, I have that set for $100,000. Right, so we got $100,000 of annual revenue. Right here, weekly revenue, we got 2,083. So basically takes our annual revenue and divides it by roughly 52 weeks. Now, right here is annual deals needed. We got 10. Deals needed per week, we got basically 0.2. Annual leads needed. This is the important part because the question becomes, what do you control? What do you focus on a week-by-week basis? If you focus on making $100,000 in a year, that's something you really can't control because now you're just running around talking to sellers. But so the question becomes, what is the indicator, the number that you can focus on each week that can move that needle? And the bottom line is, in this right here is 300 leads we need annually, but right here we need weekly leads of 6. So in this scenario, and we're going to play with these numbers for a little bit right here, but based upon a $10,000 average profit per deal, 30 leads per contract, and $250 cost per lead, if we look at that right here, right, we're going to need 6 leads a week. So let me ask you a question. That's $100,000 a year. We're going to talk about $100,000 a month here in a second. But 6 leads per week. So what if your entire focus, waking up Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever, how many days you're working, your main focus is to get 6 leads per week. I've got to get 6 leads per week. I got to get in front of them. I got to talk to them, and I got to make offers on them. 6 leads per week. Guess what? If you get 6 leads per week, based on these numbers, right, you'll generate $100,000 a year. Now let's look at the conversion numbers and why KPIs are so important. So now we're going to blend in these KPIs. Average profit per deal is 10,000, right? Leads per contract is 30, and cost per lead is 250. Now let's say these were your KPIs, and let's say theoretically you don't know your KPIs. Let's say you don't know them, right? So let's say you don't know your KPI. Am I messing you up going up to the camera like that, Chris? Nope. No? Okay. So let's say you don't know your KPIs. You don't know your KPIs. But you get 6 leads a week and you don't know them, and you go out there and you generate $100,000. Now if you look over here, we got ROI of 33%. We got net revenue of $25,000. So guess what? You've done 10 deals at $10,000, $100,000. You've made $100,000, but you pocketed $25,000. So how's that? Right? As these leads increase, now take this number right here, Chris. So take this now. We're going to play with one number, right? Sorry, Chris. I meant Aaron. Aaron, Chris. Okay. So we got average profit per deal. We're going to play with this number right here, right? So let's say theoretically you have a call from a buyer, right? And you got a property that's out there for $100,000. That you're marketing for $170,000, and you got a property out there for $170,000. Right? And you have $170,000 and a buyer, and you have a $10,000 spread built in on that $170,000, right? And now the buyer calls up and says, hey, you know what? I went and looked at the property. It needs a roof. It needs some air conditioning. It needs this and yada, 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 right? I can't give you 170, but I'll give you 167,000, and I can close it by Friday. Now, you're a wholesaler. You got the deal locked up for 160, right? You're selling it for 170, and a guy calls you up and says, I can close on Friday at 167,000, right? What do? Do you take that deal? Do you pass on that deal? Do you up that deal? Here's the thing. That's only $3,000. Yeah, it's $3,000. So let's take this $10,000. And let's take that and put that 7,000. So Aaron's going to take this right here and put it $7,000. Now, you decided, I'll just take 3,000. He can close it on Friday. That's okay. And you do that on all your deals, right? And you make that a habit of it. $100,000 you generated, but now instead of 10,000, you got 7,000. Still, you get the same 30 leads per contract, same $250 per lead, but how much did you make? You basically lost $7,143 for the year. So are you excited? So you're in business for yourself. You're working 7 days a week. You're hustling, even part-time or doing whatever. You're crushing it, and you go out there. But you generate $100,000. You did 10 deals, but you lost $7,000. That is the importance of KPIs. If you don't know your KPIs, and then you go like this, and you go, yeah, it's $3,000. He can close on Friday. No big deal. Let's go. And you're just excited to get that deal, that $7,000. What does that do? That crushes, right? Now here's the deal. If you guys are joining us right now, obviously I'm doing a live cast. I'm going to show you how to get this spreadsheet for free, okay? So, so what you're going to do right now, pay attention, listen. Type in the keyword in the comments below. Type in, right here, type in KPI. KPI. In the comments below, you're going to get a message from Facebook Messenger that's going to say, reply back to this message. And when you reply back to that message, it's going to send you a link where you can register. If you put the register up, webinar up here. Webinar. So register for webinar. I'm doing a webinar. It's on the scroll down. Basically, I'm doing a webinar March 7th at 5:30. And I'm going to go through these 9 steps, about 100,000. But if you go, when you register for the webinar and you go here, this is a registration page, scroll down. If you can see, you're going to be able to download the revenue matrix right there. So all you got to do is you got to put in this keyword in the comments, KPI. In the comments below, put KPI. And what it'll do is ask you to reply back with boom, I think it is, or boom baby or something like that. Reply back to that message, and then you'll be sent a message where you can register for the webinar, and then you can download that. So if you can go back to the spreadsheet. So all you got to do is type in KPI, that keyword KPI, in the comments below, and it will take you so you can be able to download. Just follow the instructions on your messenger, and you'll be able to download the spreadsheet. So we haven't even got started yet. We got a lot more stuff to cover. We still got these 9 steps to $100,000 a month we're going to cover, and we're going to go more in detail on the webinar. I'm going to give you the basic foundation of it, but we're going to play with this, and I'm going to take this right here up to $1.2 million. I'm going to show you what this does and the importance of the KPIs and why they're so critical to your success and your profitability in your business. So if you guys are doing good, so type the word in the comments below, KPI, and follow the messenger prompts on your messenger, and it'll send you the link where you can register for the webinar and be able to download this spreadsheet for free, because you and I are going to use it on the webinar. I'm going to show you basically kind of go through and how to use this correctly and how to set up goals when you're basically doing your company vision and what your blueprint's going to be. When we do that, we're going to use this so we understand what are on our scorecard, what we can track, and what our focus and what our vision is and what we're going to accomplish. All right, so Aaron, you doing good? Okay. So now I want to play with this right here. Let's put this back up to 10,000. Right, now let me show you something exciting. This is exciting. So we've got leads per contract. Let's say you have more education, right? And you learn more. You learn how to talk to sellers. You learn how to make strategic offers. You learn how to read personalities. You learn how to understand handshakes. You understand the personalities on how to negotiate with them correctly. You understand the objection annihilation method, how to overcome objections correctly. You understand the process. We have an iPad presentation we go through with the seller, and we go through that iPad, and for the right personalities, they love it because it shows credibility. And then guess what? We also have, there's objections, how to overcome the 16 deal-killing objections and how to overcome that. Well, that all increases or decreases your leads per contract. So now 100,000, and in this scenario with $10,000 average deal, we got 30 leads per contract right here, and we're making 25. So let's look at this number right here. So we're going to change this, that you get better. You learn more. You meet with sellers. You get better reading personalities. You get better getting logical offers. You get better getting contracts signed. What happens if you get better and this turns to 15, right? So you get better. Now, look at that. Your marketing budget dropped. Instead of getting 300 leads, now instead of getting 6 leads a week, now you need 3 leads a week. Right? Everything else is the same. The only thing was this difference, and you went from making $25,000 to making $62,000, and now you get 100 instead of a 25% ROI. You're 167% ROI. Now, on a small scale of $100,000, that's pretty significant. That means you're taking home and you're keeping 62 grand, $37,000 in marketing. Now, let's look at something else. Let's look at this last number, and we're going to play with this with bigger numbers. We're going to look at cost per lead. So now you look at your lead channels. You look at Google AdWords, direct mail. You look at the RVM lead machine. You look at all these different channels, right? You look at Bing and the cost per lead per Bing. You look at cold calling. You look at all these other different sources of lead generation, right? And you're keeping track of the cost per lead and the blended cost per lead for all channels, right? And we look at it, let's say the average through all channels is $250. But you have one channel like us, our lowest cost per lead is RVM, and we're dropping RVM every single week. We're getting leads coming in, appointments coming in, contracts coming in from RVM, right? So RVM cost per lead, it's taking our overall blended cost per lead down. So in this case, let's say for an example, we take your cost per lead, and the whole reason RVM even came up in the first place is I asked the question, what can we do to lower our cost per lead? That was, what can we do to lower our cost per lead? Boom, guess what? I heard of cold calling and RVM and all that type of stuff. So the bottom line is the goal is to reduce this number. So what if we could reduce this number by $100? So let's look at the numbers now. We got 10,000, we got there. Look at that. Now it goes to 150. It drops our marketing from $37,000 to $22,000. We double our ROI from 167 to 344. We basically increase our net revenue by $10,000. So now we're keeping more of the money through the whole process. All we did was to lower the cost per lead. Okay? Now, let's take this number right here, right? And let's put this back to 250 real quick and put that back to 30. How you doing, guys? You guys doing good? You guys having fun? All right. Now remember, if you guys could do me a favor, if you could share this broadcast, I really appreciate it. Just share it with your friends. I really appreciate it. Help it out. If you could like it, share it, that'd be great. Also, too, remember, I'm going to give you this spreadsheet. Just type in the word or the letters KPI in the comments. In the comments below, type in KPI. You type in that. Follow the messenger prompts. You're going to get basically a message from Messenger. Follow the prompts on there, and it'll take you to a page where you can register for the webinar. And then on the thank you page, you're able to download this spreadsheet. I'm doing a webinar coming up next week on the 7th and I'm breaking down this entire 100th. We haven't even talked about the 9 steps yet. We're going to talk about that here shortly. But I really want to drive down the importance of what these KPIs. And then once you understand those, then you'll understand how to build on top of that, because you have to have an understanding of the KPIs before you can even get into this, right? So here's the bottom line, is that now let's play it. Let's take this right here, and we're gonna blow up the numbers, right? So how do you get that? You just type in KPI in the comments below. All right, so how do you do this? $100,000, put it up to 1.2 million, which is essentially 100,000 a month, right? Times 12 months, 1.2 million. So $1.2 million. Now, with our current numbers, 10,000, with our current leads per contract, 30, and our current cost per lead, right here in this number, we generated 1.2 million. We spent, look at that, $900,000 in marketing. 900 grand. We generated 3,600 leads, and we need weekly leads of 75 weekly leads because our conversion, 1 in 30. Now, we walked away with $300,000, but we're looking at an expense ratio of about 75%. Now, not too exciting. I mean, you're busting your butt. You've done 120 deals in this scenario. We have a solo matrix. We have a revenue matrix solo and a revenue matrix with a team. But the bottom line in this, and I'm just going to make it easy, on this particular scenario, 120 deals, that's a lot of deals to do yourself, right? And the thing is, you need to bring on a team to kind of do that many deals, at least a lead manager and an acquisition guy, or maybe a disposition guy. But you need to start bringing on some people, which is what's going to happen. It's going to start taking out that net revenue once you do that. So how do you fix this? How do you fix these numbers, right, to be able to do it? Because listen, you may know these 9 steps to go out in this system right here, but if we look at these numbers right here, we're screwed. So here's the deal. What if we increase our profit per deal and we take it up to, say, $14,000? Now, how do we do that? $14,000. What does that do? Now we went from making $300,000 to $557,000. We're in a better spot, right? So we take it up $14,000. How do we increase our average profit per deal? Expect more. You build it into the negotiation when you're meeting with the seller. Or you sell the properties higher. As inventory decreases, you can sell your properties higher. As inventory basically expands, you're going to have to sell your properties lower. That means you have to get a lower price from your seller. And that's why we watch inventory every single month. Every month we pull up our inventory to find out where we're at. Currently, we're in a declining inventory market. Inventory is tightening. That means you can offer higher to a seller and you can sell it higher to a buyer. Now, in this particular case, you have a higher expectation, 14,000. 30, this is 30 leads per contract. It takes 30 leads to get a contract. How do we do better there? Well, guess what? We get better at conversion. We get better at getting contracts from sellers. We overcome objections better. We're tenacious. We offer a little bit higher knowing we can sell higher. That means we get more contracts. Right? We just made an adjustment in our Monday morning meeting this morning of offering higher because guess what? We're able to sell properties 83 to 85% of values. Why? Because the inventory is tightening. And guess what? One of our sales guys was offering too low and he's getting blown out of the water. Guess what? We had to adjust his offer price up so we could get more contracts, do better on conversion. And that's things that needs to be talked about, and that's in step number, where is it? Where's meetings? Foundation scorecard. All right, here, number 5, strategic meeting. That's number 5, right? And why we have meetings every single week and understanding strategic meetings is that you have to have those conversations. You have to look at the numbers every week. You have to figure out where you stand every week, and you can make those adjustments. If you don't know, we're lost, right? So here's the deal. This goes from 14, it goes to 15, right? And let's say you take your cost per lead, you start doing other, and you take it to, instead of 250, it's 150. Boom, look at that. So look at that, 1.2 million, your expense ratio is 16%, you walk away with $1 million. All you did was change 3 numbers. You expected more on your contracts. You got better on conversion, and you got a lower cost per lead. That's it. It's the only thing that changed. And now instead of needing 75 leads a week, you need 27, right? And it took your marketing budget from 900,000, you saw it, 900,000 to 192,000. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, let's go the other way, and then we're going to get in these 9 steps, okay? Now, let's say this goes back to our scenario right here. You lock up a property for 160,000, you lock it up for 160, right? And then you lock it up for 160, you're selling it or putting it out to the market for 170, right? You got a $10,000 spread. A buyer calls up and says, I can't do 170, but I can do 167 and I can close it on Friday, right? Today's Tuesday, close it on Friday. You're going, hey, I can get paid on Friday. And I'm going to drop it 3,000, no problem. So this 14,000, let's say it goes down to 7, and you take $3,000 less on a deal. You're training your buyers. You take $3,000. You don't think it's a big deal. It's just $3,000, right? So you take your average profit per deal for 14 down to 7. What happens to your profitability? Go ahead, Aaron. So we're going to take that. Boom. Now you're still doing good, right? You went from $1 million in revenue down to 814,000. Not bad, right? Now you're doing 7,000, right? Now let's talk about conversion. So we talk about conversion. So you're kind of sloppy. And here's the thing. Let's say you decide, and this is incredibly important. I get asked all the time, should I go on the appointment or should I make the offer over the phone? All the time. Should I go on the appointment and just make the offer over the phone? But the guy wants retail. I don't want to drive all the way out there and meet with them and go through in 2 hours and blah. I'm just going to make him an offer over the phone. Okay, you do that. Go ahead. What's going to happen is what we found, that if we book appointments with every seller that's willing to book an appointment with us, our conversion rate went dramatically down. Why? Because we were able to build rapport, understand their personality, build a relationship with the seller, make a strategic offer, help them, educate them in understanding about the market, about their market and their area, their house, their repair sheet, and you're able to go through the entire process. Or you give a number over the phone. If you give a number over the phone, you've missed all that. You missed the education. You missed the rapport. You missed the repair sheet. You missed the presentation. You missed the credibility. You missed everything. You just give a number over the phone. When we started booking appointments with everybody, our conversion rates plummeted. These numbers right here plummeted. They went from like 25 to 30 down to 13. So people ask me, should I go on appointments with everybody? Yes. Unless you're doing virtual wholesaling, you have to do it a different way. Or if the seller's out of state, you have to do it a different way. But if they are local, book an appointment with every person you possibly can. Now, let's say you don't. Let's say you're just screening people over the phone and you're just making offers and you're just trying to find that 1 or 2 that really want to sell their house. And now this conversion with the leads go in, and this goes back up to, let's say, 35. So you're turning around. So now you generated 1.2. You still made $300,000. Not bad. You average $7,000 a deal, but you're just making offers over the phone, and you get about 1 in 30, 1 in 35. Now, what happens is as the market tightens, as it's a seller's market, right? There's more real estate investors to get in the market. The people are, well, boom, this right here, this number, leads per contract, goes up. Cost per lead goes up because there's more people, sellers getting more mail. So what if that goes up again, back up to 250? What happens? So it goes up $100, big deal. The cost per lead went up $100, big deal. So how are you doing? You generate 1.2 million. Guess what? We just took $3,000 less on our deal. We got leads per contract because we don't want to go and drive and go to all the appointments and meet the seller. We're just making offers over the phone. Yeah, and our cost per lead went up to $250. Because we got Google AdWords, we're doing direct mail. And for some reason, the response rate in direct mail is not going as well. Boom. Guess what? We generated $1.2 million, but we lost $300,000. How do I know that? Because I've been there. And it's not fun, right? It's not fun. Now you put a bad hire in here, you put a lawsuit in here, you put any other thing in this whole thing, and it blows the numbers completely out of the water, right? And then, holy cow. So this is incredibly important. You're spending $1.5 million on marketing, $31,000 a week, you're generating 125 leads, but you're not making money. I cannot express how important these numbers are and how little tweaks to the mentality, to the thinking, to your business, to your team. Because if you don't get this, and now we're going to go try to do this, and we're going to build a $100,000 a month system, guess what? You might be doing $100,000 a month, but you're going to be in a tight situation because of, just take $3,000 less on the deal. Who cares on the cost per lead, right? And it gets in a tough situation. Now, all right, so if you guys are joining us, thank you so much for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. If you could do me a favor, we're going to now get into talk about $100,000 a month system. I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm going to go more in detail on a webinar next week on the 7th. I'm going to invite you to a webinar. And also, I want to give you the spreadsheet before the webinar so you can start playing around with it, because we're going to use the spreadsheet together to essentially basically set a goal of what to accomplish, how much marketing you need, and we're also going to talk about how to decrease these numbers, okay? How to decrease those numbers, and we're going to talk about the system, this 9-step system, basically to $100,000 a month. It literally takes about 18 months, if you follow it, to go and basically build this out from a one-man show. If you're a one-man show, you're working yourself, you're doing all the deals yourself, you're doing 1 to 2, 3 deals a month, you're running around doing this, you're trying to build a team, this is going to show you exactly the process, the roadmap, the blueprint, the vision of what it takes to make this happen. So if you could, in the comments below, type the word KPI. Type the word KPI. You're going to get a message from Messenger. Just follow the prompts. It's going to allow you to register for the webinar. Can you put that webinar up there, Aaron? Back here. So it's going to allow you to register for the webinar, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to transform your wholesaling house's side hustle, right, your side job, into an enterprise, into a 7-figure enterprise. You get more sellers and buyers, do less deals, gain 100% clarity on how $100,000 a month wholesaling operation works. Scroll down, right? It's in 8 days. It's on Wednesday, March 7th, right? And on the thank you page, when you register, scroll down, you'll be able to download the revenue matrix we were just talking about. All you got to do to get there is type in KPI into the comments below, and then you will get the message where you can register for the webinar and you can download. Now, you're going to definitely want to download that spreadsheet prior to us being on this webinar where I'm going to go through these 9 steps in detail. You're definitely going to want to do that because we're going to cover a lot of stuff. We're going to go through in depth. I really want to you to be able to take these 9 steps and apply it so you can go out in 18 months and build a $100,000 a month business. All right. So now, you guys good? Type KPI in the comments below. All right. Now, $100,000 a month system. You guys doing good? How's everybody? They're doing good on there? Any questions at all by anybody? If anybody has any questions, stop me. I get some water.
Will there be a replay?
Of this?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, it's on Facebook, right? So I'll email it out to everybody. Is that it? No more questions?
And can I get the RVM system? Did you release them?
Did I release them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Someone's asking if they can get the RVM system.
Yeah. So you can just type in the link in their RVM lead machine. Have them do that. Is that it for the questions?
That's right. Yeah.
All right, okay, that's it for the questions. Remember, type in KPI in the comments there, and you can register for the webinar. If you could go back to the spreadsheet, Aaron, I appreciate it. Actually, you can just go back to the webinar. Just go back to the webinar. Right there. Okay, on the 7th. All right. So let's get back into $100,000 a month system. basically there's 9 steps, and I'm going to blow through these 9 steps. I'm going to go more in detail on the webinar that's on March 7th, 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 EST, and we're going to basically break down each one of these and the steps in between. There's different steps. So let's get into it. The first one is daily personal progress, okay? You, as an entrepreneur, have to be dialed in before you can start building a team of people. You got to be dialed in yourself, meaning you've got to know exactly what you want, exactly what you stand for, and exactly why you're doing this, and have your priorities straight, right? So we got to know exactly what we're doing, right? Daily personal progress. So we're going to talk about what we call is the January letter, right? How to focus basically for the entire year, get dialed in on what you want, and then be able to put that in your head every single morning and every single night. I'm going to talk about the tools that I use every single morning. We're going to talk about your morning ritual, right? Your daily personal progress. We call it daily. It's your morning ritual that you do every single morning to get honed in and dialed in. Now, here's the thing. Have you ever tried to accomplish something and it's a massive struggle? You feel like you're going against the grain. You feel like you're going upstream. You feel like you're going uphill, and you're crawling and you're nagging, you're doing and everything just seems difficult, okay? And then have you done other things where everything just seems to flow? Everything lines up perfectly. Everything just goes as planned. Everything's great. Well, what happens is that if you're aligned, right? If you align yourself and you have on your vision what you want to accomplish, right? On your personal progress, and you do that every single morning through a morning ritual, guess what? It lines things up. It creates the vision of what you want, and things just fall. It's law of attraction. It's God lines things up for you, puts them in your pathway, right? And helps you succeed, because guess what? You're defining what you want and what you want to accomplish, okay? So, and then we're also going to talk about this right here is how to infuse gratitude in your goals, right? How do you take gratitude and infuse it in your goals through a Monday morning ritual that you do every single day? Because here's the deal. If you're an emotional wreck, if you're a complete and absolute turbulence, if you're in internal chaos, then you cannot build this, right? You're going to struggle. It's going to be a mess. You're going to try to bring on other people, and then they're going to be a mess. It's going to be a big mess. You're going to attract the wrong people. Believe me, how do I know? I've done this. Everything. I went through this, and I've tried to build this without this, and it doesn't work. I make big mistakes. I do bad things. It does not work, right? So daily personal progress. Company vision. And company vision is important, right? What are your core values? What do you stand for, right? And that progress, we're going to talk about your 1-year goal, what you want to accomplish. Specifically, what's the 1-year plan? And see, it builds into that spreadsheet when it talks about revenue. And now you can take that plan and holy cow, I need 6 leads a week. I need 25 leads a week to be able to get, to hit my revenue goals. So now you have that plan, and that's why I built a spreadsheet that ties in with that so you can use that. So when we talk about company vision, we talk about plan, what we want to go and what we want to accomplish, core values and stuff, then what's going to happen is that's how that ties in with that. So now, company vision, where are we going? What do we stand for? What are we doing? What's our mission, right? And I'll share my mission with you on the webinar and how we work. The next thing is what's called the Freedom Foundation Blueprint. So the Freedom Foundation Blueprint is essentially your team. Your team. So when you have a team, I don't want to erase this, but when you have a team, I'm not going to be able to do this, but you have a team. This is you, right? And then you're gonna start hiring a team. This is basically called an organizational chart. An organizational chart. Part of that organizational chart with a team is all your hires, all their core responsibilities, and what their basically job duties are, all their basically numbers they have to report on, right? Well, what numbers they report on. So now you have a blueprint of what you're going to build. So here's the deal. If you've ever built a house, or you understand the concept of essentially building a house, right? If you're going to do that, you have to have a blueprint. So everybody, that means the plumber, the guy who's going to lay the concrete, the guy who's doing the electricity, the guy who's doing the framing, the guy who's doing the roofing, everybody works off the same plan. Everybody has different roles and responsibilities, but they all are working off the same vision, the same plan, the blueprint that you're building. That's exactly what this is that everybody's going to have a different role. You're not going to have the electrician do the plumbing, you're not going to have the plumber do the roofing, and you're not going to have the guy that's doing framing try to figure out how he's going to do the landscaping. Everybody's going to have their different role to build the house together, because that's the vision, that's what you're going to accomplish. So the difference here is you got your Freedom Foundation blueprint tied in with your company vision. What are we building? And then who are the team members we need? What's their roles and responsibilities, and what do they report on? That's going to build basically the Freedom Foundation blueprint. Okay? Now, once we have this, we have the scorecard. And a scorecard is we have a Google Doc that we have, and we basically put in all our numbers, right? How many leads did we get this week? What was our revenue? What's our future revenue? Where did the revenue come from? How many deals? Did it come from Google? Did it come from RVM? Where did it come from? And basically, we have a scorecard that lays everything out. So the purpose of the scorecard is this. If you're on a deserted island in the middle of Tahiti somewhere, and you were going to basically pull up your computer or pull up your phone, and you were going to look at a spreadsheet, you would be able to tell the pulse of the business of exactly what's happening, right? How much revenue have we done so far? What's our future revenue? What's closing this week? What's our current pipeline of how much inventory we have in our pipeline that we have that's going to close? How many leads are we getting on a weekly basis? Are we trending up or are we trending down, right? All that is reported on a scorecard, and who does the reporting? The team members. So if you're a solopreneur and you're doing everything yourself and you're a one-man show, essentially your name is going to be in all these boxes. You. That means you're going to be the company vision. You're the one that's going to go on appointments. You're going to do the marketing. You're going to meet with the sellers. You're going to do transactions. You're going to do every aspect of the business. But now you have an understanding that you're going to backfill, meaning you're going to hire someone to do this. We're going to talk about who to hire first. So guess what? You're going to hire someone, and guess what? All that responsibility now is off your plate. Then you're going to hire someone from this job. All that responsibility is off your plate. Now you're going to hire someone for here. All the responsibility is off your plate. So you're going to be able to do only what you love to do. So what is my main operation in the entire business? I look for newest and best marketing methods to drive our cost per lead and manage the entire thing. Basically, manage the scorecard, figure out where our numbers are, figure out the deals, what we're going to sell, and primarily do what I love to do. And I love meeting with sellers, but that's not my highest and best use. Okay, so scorecard's incredibly important. Now, you can have a scorecard, but if you never have a meeting, then you're not going to know. So I was in an office prior to this office, and I had my team. I had there was Chelsea, there was Denise there was Steve there was my acquisition guy. There was Stan. He was disposition, kind of ran stuff. I remember I walked in the office. We never had meetings, never had a scorecard, didn't have a Freedom Foundation, didn't really have a company vision where we're going, and I was like, I was a mess, right? So I walk into the meeting in the morning, or no meetings. I'd walk in the office in the morning on a Monday or whatever. And I said, hey, are we closing anything this week? And I look at Stan, and he goes, yeah, we got a couple things we're working on. Hi, Steve, how's it going? You get any deals last week? I got a couple I'm working on and following up with. Hey, Denise, how are the calls coming in? They're all right. They're coming in. A lot of people want off the list. And I walk back in my office. I wouldn't know what the heck was going on. I was lost. And I go, oh, my God, how can I run a business like that? And guess what? Then we discovered this, scorecard. Now, primarily this has come from the book Traction. Traction's a great book written by Gino Winkman. Great, great book. Now, scorecard, strategic meetings, and we're going to go through this in the webinar. And we have a webinar Wednesday, 5:30. All you have to do, and you can get the spreadsheet we talked about, all you got to do is type in KPI, and we'll send you a link to register, plus download the spreadsheet for free. Type in KPI for Key Performance Indicator, KPI. Type it in the comments in Facebook right now. Type in the comments below. And you're going to get a message, a special message we made from Messenger. It's going to give you a link to this, and also give you, when you register for the webinar, on the thank you page will be the free download. So go ahead and do that now. Type in KPI into the comments, and you'll be able to go there. All right, so now, strategic meetings. Now in our meetings, we have a format that we go through. We talk about everyone's weekend. We talk about, we go through the scorecard. Each person reports on their numbers. We talk about deals we have coming in. And more importantly, we talk about issues. What issues we have. If you have brewing issues in the business that you don't solve permanently, then you can't grow. Okay? So if you have, in your meetings, if you're not handling any issues, and you just have the same issues over and over and over, you're never going to grow. But the goal of the meeting is to go through all the numbers, go through all the deals you got going, go through everything's going on, and then look at the issues, then handle the issues. If you handle the issues in the meeting and you put them away forever, you solve them forever, they'll never come back, and then you can systematically grow every single week. Now, after you got through strategic meetings, there's and I'll give you. We'll talk about on the webinar. We'll talk about more of the format. We got Monday morning meetings we do every Monday. Starts on time, ends on time. We got quarterly meetings we do every quarter, and we got annual meetings we do every single year. So, and there's certain things we do in those meetings to gain progress and to continue to grow. Now, the next thing is marketing rollout. Right? This is your marketing rollout. Now you have marketing. You might have one channel, Google AdWords. It might be direct mail. It might be cold calling. I know a lot of guys cold calling, and that's their only lead channel coming in, right? But if your guys quit, then your lead channel's screwed. So the goal is you want to be diversified. You want to have multiple different lead channels coming in that are bringing leads that you can have a lower cost blended cost per lead. But you want to have multiple different channels. If one goes, then you're not out of business. The next thing is marketing rollout. So I give you basically a mind map of all the different marketing lead channels that are out there that you can tap into, that you can essentially roll out into a market. No lead left behind. This is the funnel that happens when a lead, right, comes into our business. What happens if a lead comes in and we don't book an appointment with them, or we don't talk to them? Let's say they leave a message at 9 o'clock or at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, right? And no one's there to answer the phone, and it goes to a voicemail. What do we do with that lead, right? That's someone that we haven't essentially talked to yet. What happens with a lead that calls in and we book an appointment and they cancel? What happens with a lead that comes in from Google AdWords and it's a form submission, and now we're trying to get back a hold of that person? What do we do? What's the back-end marketing, the follow-up sequence? What if we go on an appointment, but we don't get the deal? What happens to that lead? Okay? That is called the funnel of what happens to the lead, breaks down to a certain funnel, right? We call it no lead left behind. Cash flow management, that's the next thing. As a CEO and an owner of the company, you have to manage the cash flow coming in and out of the company. That means your weekly marketing budgets are going to tweak based upon cash flow. So we're going to talk about that, right? Because you can't, if we have the spreadsheet and it says, oh, I got a $3,000 a week marketing budget. Well, what if you go 3 weeks with no revenue and you're spending $3,000 a week? You find yourself in a tough situation. So what has to happen is you have to manage your marketing budgets off your cash flow intake, but you can't do it on a week-by-week basis. It has to be blended over a certain time. So yeah, cash flow management is incredibly important. The last one is the whole reason why you're doing this. This one right here is the last one. It's called generational wealth, right? So let me ask you a question. You're wholesaling, you're doing 1 or 2 deals a month, right? And you want to build a business for the purpose of creating freedom, but also to generating more revenue. That's the whole purpose of it. Creating freedom and generating more revenue. Now, if we're going to do that, it's for the purpose of what? just to run a business and have more freedom and buy a Lamborghini and drive around? You know what I mean? Is that the purpose of it? Maybe for you, I don't know. The goal is to take excess cash and then put it into bigger, better deals. Bigger, better deals, right? So I'm working on 2 properties out in Texas right now, not in Texas, but in Atlanta, 225 unit deals, right? 225 units, we're gonna buy them, and basically that's generational wealth, right? Hang on to them for the rest of my life and give it to my kids, right? Generational wealth. That will produce cash flow coming in. Produce, anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 a year, cash flow coming in, whether I work or not, right? 225 units, they'll bring in, right? One of them we're currently opening escrow on, and the other one we're in negotiation on. We have an LOI, accepted LOI we're working on. So those are 2 properties, and guess what? We're looking for more. We're building a massive 5,000 unit portfolio over the next 5 years to create that generational wealth. So we're taking money from this business right here, excess cash flow while managing cash flow, and dumping it into huge. Now think about it. Let's say 5 years from now, if you had 5,000 units, let's call it, that's crazy. Let's call it 1,000 units. 5 years from now, you have 1,000 units. And you make $100 per unit with your partnerships. Now, you might not have all the cash to do it yourself, but you do it through raising capital. It's called syndications, private placements, stuff like that. You have partners in, you raise equity, you get debt on the property, and you manage the property. You have management teams, right? And you come in and do that, and you create that, and you make $100 per unit, and you have 1,000 units in 5 years. How you doing? How much is that? That, my friends, right, is $100,000 a month in passive cash flow. That is generational wealth. That is going to offset your ordinary income. That is a game changer. That's why you're here. That's why KPIs and understanding all this and building this thing, that's the end game. Now, it's funny because I'm flying out to Boardroom, which is our mastermind group, Boardroom and Boardroom Elite. And Boardroom are people just getting going, doing 2 or 3 deals a month. Boardroom Elite, they're doing more deals, like 5, 7, 10, 15 deals a month. And then Billionaire Boardroom is where they're doing millions of dollars in revenue. But in Billionaire Boardroom, we're talking about, okay, how can we acquire more larger, bigger, better deals? Larger apartments, do syndications, private placements, which you can do that. But obviously you can have cash flow coming in, you can pour into that. That's the end game. So you want to use wholesaling. Maybe you're brand new, maybe you've got started, maybe you've never made money in real estate. You can get started and get going in this, get up and going, and you can turn around and you progress from not knowing anything about real estate to going in just a handful of years, be in a position where now you understand deals, you're comfortable with bigger numbers, you're comfortable doing deals, you're comfortable in deal structure, and you're comfortable in that whole process, that now you can make an offer on a 150-unit apartment complex, right? And you kind of learn that whole process, you go through that whole process. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want for you, right? That's the end game. And guess what? You can do it. You can follow this process and you can do it. So here's the deal. I am holding a live web class, and I'm going to break down these 9 steps in detail on the webinar. It's March 7th, 5:30 PST, 8:30 EST. And to get more information about that, right, type in KPI. That's the keyword, KPI. Type that into the comments below on Facebook right now. Type in KPI. If you do that right now, if you follow, you're going to get a message. It's going to say reply back with a word, I think boom or whatever. And then what it's going to do, we're going to send you a link to this webinar, and you're going to be able to can you put the spreadsheet up there real quick? You're going to be able to download this spreadsheet right here. This is a revenue matrix spreadsheet right here. and it's going to tie in understanding what your company vision is. So what we're going to do is understanding company vision. Once we lay this out and we know how many leads we need a week, how many leads we need a year, right? How many deals we need a month, how many deals we need to do. This will help you when it comes to your company vision, your freedom blueprint, when you're trying to figure out your 1-year plan, your core value. Basically, when you're building this out right here, this is why I made this. So I could then build this out every single year, and I could know how many leads do I need on a weekly basis to hit my goal. That was the goal, okay? So that is the $100,000 a month plan. You guys have any questions? Is there any questions for anybody? I'll open up with questions if you guys have any questions, but make sure you type in KPI in the comments below, and you'll be able to register for the webinar and download this spreadsheet for free. Pretty good on questions?
Well, there's a 30-second delay, so they might start coming in.
Oh. People are waving at me. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And if not, all you got to do is type in KPI in the comments below, KPI, right there. Type in KPI, and you'll get some prompts via Messenger. Just follow those prompts, and you'll be able to register for the webinar. And on the thank you page of the webinar, you can download this spreadsheet for free. But play with it, because on Wednesday's webinar next week, we will be going through in detail on how to use this and how to tie it into your company vision. So, no more questions. We're good. What?
Yeah, I got one. Someone said, what is RVM?
What is RVM? RVM is called the RVM lead machine, and basically what it is allows you to send a ringless voicemail to a highly targeted list of prospects where they get a customized message with a voicemail, right? So basically, you say, hey, I'm buying houses in your neighborhood, and if you're interested in selling your house, please give us a call, and use a caller ID. You drop that message into a qualified prospect, like a distress list, or just like your regular mailing list. You can append them for cell phones. You drop a message in their cell phone. It's called ringless voicemail. They drop a message in your cell phone, and then boom. They call you back, and you can convert that into an appointment and into a contract. It's really great. So it's a software we have called RVM Lead Machine. If you go to rvmleadmachine.com, rvmleadmachine.com, you can learn more about that and how it works. I actually do a demo for that product. We'll show you in detail how it works. Is that good? If you can give them the link in there if you want. Reply back to them with a link. Any more questions?
Question: once you get the leads, you have to run them to get the numbers. What is the company you use again?
If you have the RVM Lead Machine, it's inside. There's a special link inside the RVM Lead Machine training, and inside that link, you can basically set up an account to get the special pricing we have on it.
Gotcha.
So, anything else? That's it. All right, guys. So put in KPI in the comments below. Put KPI. You're going to get a message from Messenger. It's going to allow you to register for the webinar, and on the thank you page, you can download the spreadsheet, and then join me on next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we're going to do a live workshop, and we're going to break down these 9 steps. These 9 steps right here. Your daily personal progress, company vision. This is a $100,000 a month system. Daily personal progress, company vision, freedom foundation blueprint, your organizational chart, the scorecard, strategic meetings, marketing rollout, no lead left behind, cash flow management, and generational wealth. We're going to cover that on the webinar on March 7th. So, yes.
Question: how soon should I start building the team?
How soon should you start building a team? basically you start building a team when you have more leads than you know what to do with. What happened? Oh, did you lose them?
Computer kicked me out.
Oh, perfect. You start building a team when you have more leads than you can handle, and you get more leads coming in that you can handle. Then you want to start bringing on, and the first hire you want to bring on is a lead manager. And then in the blueprint, we'll talk about which is the first hire and stuff like that. So, and we'll go through those on the Freedom Foundation blueprint. But so you want to bring on when you got too many leads coming in, you got stuff falling through the cracks. But you want to have that for a couple months. You don't want to bring on people where you don't have enough leads, right, coming in. You're not going to have a lot for them to do, and you want to be able to have enough leads coming in so you have a consistent revenue coming in.
And will you offer any one-on-one coaching?
Do I offer any one-on-one coaching? Well, I usually take on 1 or 2 people a year. I just took on someone recently, so maybe one. Just reach out to Chelsea at Flip2Freedom2@gmail. Just reach out to Chelsea, Flip2Freedom2@gmail, and we'll do an interview. So what's up? That's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Type in KPI in the comments below. Register for the webinar. Get the thing. Get the spreadsheet, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, and God bless.